All right, here we go. So here we are on Remember the 5th of November here for the inaugural Cloud Heyne podcast. This is the week 8, week 9 podcast. I am here with our league leader right now who is gracing us with his presence. RJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. Feeling pretty good.
Must be nice to be 8-0, not have a care in the world.
It feels great. I don't think I had to update my team until last week.
It must be nice. It must be nice. Yeah. So speaking of the standings, so this is our first one of the year. I mean, we're over halfway through the season, so we'll do a little recap here of how the season's gone so far. Just looking at the standings, yeah, RJ sits atop at 8-0. The next closest team to him is Zamit at 6-2. So, and you got the highest points scored as well. So you're in great shape. If somehow people catch your win total, you're probably still going to have the tiebreaker. So,
Yeah,
you're just cruising right now. You have the number one waiver position as well. So
I'm in
pretty
great
much
shape.
a dream.
Dude, I'm in great shape. Like I never thought this has just been one of those seasons where I feel like, and I'm sure we'll talk about injuries and that sort of stuff later on, but like it's just been one of those years where everything I've like been involved with has like turned to gold pretty much. I've had to do like little to nothing, where I feel like most of these other managers have just had to scrap and claw for points and wins. It's just been, knock on wood. It's been a pretty uneventful year for me. And that's a good thing. So.
Yeah. But you know how it is though. You got to finish,
You do.
it's one thing to have a strong season, but I've seen it before where, people make the wrong decision in the playoffs and it's an early exit.
Well, yeah. Just to kind of piggyback off that, I feel like, I had conversations with you about it, for the past couple of years. I feel like what always ends up happening is I'm in great position, come playoff time, I earn a bye, and then, those like semifinal weeks, the championship weeks, all my guys get injured. The week before, or I have a couple devastating injuries, stuff gets shifted around, and then those matchups, like I just have very poor matchups that I've like planned for in advance that just get screwed at the end. And it's just, you end up becoming like a huge underdog and you can't finish. So I am probably going to sit on this claim and just do everything I possibly can. Cause I have a huge lead to try to set myself up for those weeks. So it doesn't happen this year. Cause as far as I'm concerned, if I don't finish first, it's a lost season.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at the standings, I mean, obviously you're in great shape. There's a lot of people battling still. It's very close. I mean, you look at the standings here and you got, one team that's 5-3, 4 that are 4-4, 3 that are 3-5. So,
how is
after
Roth?
This week,
How is Roth in third place? I don't get it.
He's made moves. He's hit on a couple of things. I mean, he has less points scored than against, and he's 5-3. So that's rare. And so maybe things will catch up with him here. But yeah, he's somehow over 500 with less points for than against. But we'll see. So I mean, I'm sitting in 10th place right now. I finished 10th last year. It's kind of where I live in this league for whatever reason. Maybe I can scrap my way into the playoffs. I mean, I'm only one game back. The 6th seed is 4-4. So
yeah, no,
you're
a
right
couple
there,
wins,
and you're right back in it. But let's keep pressing forward here.
Okay.
I mean, I do want to say as of right now, Billy is our current plate frame owner. So we'll see if he can keep things going here and get out of that. But so the next thing I wanted to talk about is just the season recap and all the injuries that we've had. There's been a lot of first round picks this season that have gone down. Christian McCaffrey is out, and really it's kind of remarkable that Zamit is in second place, losing
Agreed.
his first round pick. I'm shocked that he's doing this well. Mason lost Saquon Barkley, and he's in the current playoff spot right now. So it really goes to show you that you can lose your first round pick and still be productive and still
Yeah.
scrap out wins. So other people like Michael Thomas, he's pretty much been worthless all season for Cisco's auto drafted team. So
Yep.
he's just kind of, I guess he's coming back this week.
Yeah.
But that'll certainly be a big boost if he's healthy. Nick Chubb, he's missed a lot of time this year.
Yep.
Now Joe Mixon's hurt, Eckler, um, George Kittle's now out. So there's just been a ton of injuries. Some people have been able to avoid them, but I think everyone at some point, for the most part, has been affected by it.
Yeah. No, I would agree. This year almost feels like, I can't remember if it was like 4 or 5 years ago, but it was just another year where I feel like 80% of like the top, 4 or 5 drafted guys like went down with like season ending injuries. And it was just, the majority of the season was, waiver ads, add a guy through free agency. Just everybody was playing different lineups like every single week. And I think what you said is right on. It goes to show you that, your draft is important. It sets you up, but you can still, in a year like, like this year, you can still have success by like grinding it out, like doing it the hard way. And, it's good to see Zamit, kind of flip flop this year and last year, with his standings. So way to
Yeah,
go, Zamit.
it's crazy because last year he had Saquon and lost him for the year, and ended up getting the plate frame in last place. And again, he loses his first round pick almost immediately, but somehow he's still winning. So it's just whoever that guy takes in the first round, make sure you don't take him if you're in other leagues, because he's guaranteed to go on IR at some point. That's pretty much what I've learned.
Yep. You're right.
So
You're 100% right.
stay away from Zamit's first pick in Cloud Heyne.
Uh,
So, I think McCaffrey's coming back. So, hey, that could be a huge jolt there for him. But speaking of, McCaffrey, we wanted to talk about each week, go into a little player analysis. RJ and I are going to pick a player to kind of talk about, and I'll let RJ kick it off with his player.
Yeah, so I was kind of between a couple different players, but I'm actually going to end up saving the player that I originally was going to talk about for potentially a later week, because I think he's going to blow up this week, and it will be even more applicable to talk about him maybe like next week. But I am going to actually just talk about Mike Davis, and I have some stats like kind of pulled up here. I'm just going to like, real briefly kind of go through this, but I ended up getting Mike Davis as my off waivers week 3, in between week 3. Week 2 and week 3. And I literally picked him up, and I didn't even need a running back. I picked him up. CMC had just gone down. Like, I didn't even know about this guy, but I had like the top waiver at that point. I think I might have had waiver 2, but I ended up getting him. And I just threw him in as my flex because it was just like, let's see what happens. And I'm not joking. Mike Davis, from week 2 to week 5, Mike Davis was the overall number 1 fantasy guy. It's insane. Week 3, I'm just going to go through his stats right here. 13 rushes, 46 yards, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 45 receiving yards, and a touch. That's insane. It was 23 fantasy points that week. Week 4 was pretty much insane as well. I have, let's see, we have 16 rushes, 84 yards, 1 touch, 6 targets, 5 receiving yards. 5 receptions and 27 receiving yards. It's insane. I got this guy for literally free. I didn't draft him. This is on top of me having like Aaron Jones and basically not even relying on him. So I mean, Mike Davis is one of those guys, and who knows what's going to happen. CMC is about to come back, but I mean, enough can't be said on Mike Davis, in my opinion. He has just been a godsend. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm in first place is because I picked this guy up. I was calling him Miles Davis for some stupid reason for like the last 5 weeks. I didn't even realize his name was Mike Davis. I'm serious. Like it was a joke, but at the same time, I don't know. He's been amazing. You talk about value and production, and this guy, I mean, he's got me both. And I didn't have to trade anything for him. He's just been like a great compliment to like my team, and definitely one of the reasons why I'm in first place. So that's about all that I was gonna say about Mike Davis. Justin, I don't know if you had anything to add on him, but
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the pickup of the year so far. I mean, just based on what he's been able to do off the waiver wire. Um, you know, are you concerned though with McCaffrey apparently coming back and losing that production? I mean,
I am. I am. I mean, it's funny because this is the first week where I kind of have, ironically, I'm going against you. So you're probably sitting back with a smile on your face with my RB situation. But I mean, honestly, I really think CMC is not 100%. You know, CMC just relies on his legs, and I mean, he's nicked up. He's not 100%. He goes like 100% full speed. Like to me, I am obviously concerned about the production and the snaps and probably losing a lot of the volume. But I mean, I'll just throw Mike Davis on my bench, and we'll see what happens. I mean, there's still a few weeks here. We'll see what happens with CMC. I still think Mike Davis has standalone value, just being that I really think CMC is going to lose his role, his typical CMC role when he comes back. I could see it being, Mike Davis is more of like, the everyday like third down kind of back. Maybe it's going to be some kind of committee, whether it's they switch series. I don't know, but I am concerned, but I'm not. I'm definitely not gonna. I'm gonna hang on to Davis because I mean CMC has a setback at all. Boom, he's right there. I can use him as an option and throw him in as an RB or a flex, and there's still a lot of potential. Those are my thoughts. So,
all right, a lot of thoughts there.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. All right, I want to jump into the player that I want to talk about, and it's probably no surprise because I am constantly complaining about this player in the chat and to people in general, and it's AJ Green. I traded for AJ Green last year when I was pretty much eliminated for a decent keeper for this season, assuming he'd be back healthy, which is, for the most part, I guess he has been healthy. He's played every game this season. And it's just been a frustrating ownership of this guy because he's healthy. You believe he's going to be, putting up numbers on a team that is, typically trailing in games where they're throwing a ton. I think Burrow has the most pass attempts in the NFL. So it's everything you want in fantasy football for a wide receiver. And this guy just does nothing. And it's a real head scratcher. I mean, there was a game this year where he had 13 targets and caught 3 passes. I think it's happened like 20 times in the history of the NFL or something. It's just been so ridiculous when you watch these games because the guy is involved, he plays, and he's targeted. Nothing happens. And I got some numbers here to support that. If you look at targets per game, he's getting 7.88 targets per game, which is 17th in the NFL. And he's actually fantasy points per game for wide receivers. He's 79th. So he is the 79th highest. He's scoring 7.8 points per game while being 17th in targets per game. I mean, if you look at comparisons here, he and Tyler Lockett each have 63 targets exactly.
Wow.
AJ Green has 0 touchdowns on the season, and Tyler Lockett has 7. So it's just mind-boggling. Like I wanted this guy to be my wide receiver 3, like a solid wide receiver 3. And he's had a couple of good weeks here, but the fact that he hasn't scored a single touchdown yet with that many targets, it's pretty insane, really. That he
No, it
doesn't
is.
have any catches.
It is. I mean, AJ Green, he's a head scratcher. I feel like, AJ Green has always been regarded as, when he's healthy, when he's on the field, the guy is like, one of the best producers in fantasy. And, he has the years to prove that. He's been super consistent. And I don't know if it's age. I mean, it can't be age because he wouldn't be playing if, you know, he was a liability. And it's just crazy because I feel like you hit the nail on the head with the targets and like the usage and the looks, but the production has just not been there. And, you know, I don't know if it's more of a situation where what is his role in that offense? Is it just like a decoy? Because that's, to me, it literally just looks like his role right now with Cincy is just to soak up targets, to make it look like he is, you know, the number one, but he's more of a decoy. And I know with Boyd and with with the rookie, um, I mean it's arguably three wide receiver ones, but Green doesn't get anything. He gets nothing.
Well, that's the thing is like, yeah, like Burrow is able to support like pretty much 3 wide receivers right now, like that you could trust to start for the most part,
Right.
just based on the volume alone.
Right.
So yeah, it's just the other guys are catching touchdowns. I mean, I don't know if Green just can't separate or the
Yeah.
throws to him just don't seem to be on point. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, he's my player to spotlight because I traded for this guy and I want him to have that blow up game that
Yeah.
gets me a freaking win this season. And I've stayed true to this guy. He's on bye this week, thank God. So I don't have to hope to God he catches a touchdown. But
Yeah.
maybe it'll happen this season. And when it does, you guys will surely hear from
Yeah.
me.
I'm not how many receptions, I don't know if you have the stats in front of you, or since he's your guy, maybe you just have a better idea. How many actual receptions does Green have? Like, would you say
He
up
he
until?
has 30 he has 31.
Okay.
He has 31 catches, and um, just kind of compare that to Travis Fulgham from Philly has 29. So he has 2 less catches than him, and he's averaging 19.3 fantasy points per game, and Green is 7.8.
That's a
So
head scratcher, man.
is if he just would catch some touchdowns, those numbers would look a lot different. But yeah,
Right.
it kills you.
It does, man.
So we'll keep rolling forward here. So that's kind of our season recap so far. We're going to take a look now at week 8. The recap here. Week 8 was very interesting. There were some very close games that happened. First thing I want to talk about is injuries that happened this week. George Kittle looks like he's pretty much done for this season, which fantasy wise stinks. Real life, it's even worse as a Niners fan. It's just been a terrible, terrible season for the 49ers and overall. Jonathan Taylor, he's kind of banged up right now. Gaskin on the Dolphins, he's hurt. It looks like he's going to IR, and Kenny Galladay left the game too, and it looks like he's going to be missing some time. So that's a big weapon for Stafford, who's going to be out. And Stafford's like on the COVID list right now, so it doesn't look good for Detroit. Just based on last week, but I do want to talk about some of the matchups here. The one I wanted to spotlight is the Mason Steve Adams matchup. I know these two have some history of jawing in the chat. Steve coming off of a championship win, a lot of confidence. likes to get under Mason's skin a little bit on his draft decisions and decisions in general. So I know Mason really, really wanted to win this game, and he lost by 1.6 points on the last play. Well, not the last play, but a 4th and 16, I believe it was, for I think it was Shepard. Yeah, for Shepard to catch a pass and beat Mason. So that was the big game of the week there. I know Mason was ready to start chirping after that win, but the play of the week, as far as the someone that played a player, and it's like how did you play this player and they hit for you and you won the game, is going to be Nyheim Hines for Steve. I know he's very desperate with his injuries to Joe Mixon. He played Hines, who gave him 21.2 points and the win, which nobody saw coming whatsoever. So that is my play of the week. That was the big game of the week there. So a nice comeback win for Steve. The next part of the week is the fuck up of the week. A guy that wasn't played that probably could have helped you out and gave you the win. And for this week, that is going to be Michael Gallup for TJ.
TJ.
TJ did not play him. He put up 13 points, which doesn't sound like a ton, but it's more than Denzel Mims and Greg Ward that he played instead. And if he would have played Gallup instead of either one of those, he actually would have won this week. So he lost by less than 4 points to Billy, which that's a tough loss. Billy being towards the bottom of the rankings going into this week. So that was a screw up of the week right there, is not playing Gallup. But I mean, to defend TJ, I don't really know how you can with a third string quarterback, and the Cowboys just look horrible.
Yeah. I would have probably done the same thing, and that would have been me if I had TJ's team. So I can't really be upset, but it is what it is. That's fantasy, man.
That's hindsight right there. Yeah, played him, you win that game instead of those other guys. So teams on the rise and decline. Each week we're going to look at a team that won, who I feel like is on the rise, who we feel like is on the rise, and a team that lost that we think is in trouble. So our team on the rise for me is Billy's team. Billy put up 152 points this week. It's definitely his highest score of the season.
Yeah.
He has Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. He's got a great running back duo there. So his wide receivers that he picked up and played, Hardman, Curtis Samuel, went off, and he was able to beat a team that put up 148 points, which is certainly something I know I wouldn't be able to do. So I think his team's on the rise just based on that win, his running backs, and he went and made some moves this week and got the W.
Yeah. No, I you're looking at the standings right now, with essentially with five matchups left, starting tonight, if you have players tonight. I look at Billy's team, and I Henry is going to just get so much production these next 5 weeks. The Titans are just going to rely on him. I would give anything to have Henry right now. And the same thing with Kamara. Like, I feel like, Kamara is going to be used, just as much. The Saints, they're getting their whole, offense back together. I think it's just going to, it's going to allow Kamara to get fed, honestly, more and be more productive. And I could definitely see, Billy, possibly trying to, string some wins together here and squeeze back into, the top 6. I definitely don't think it's much of a long shot idea. I think it could definitely happen. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Kamara, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that guy's like a wide receiver 1 and an RB1, in one player. I mean, the guy, he had 9 catches, this week. I mean, the guy just gets so many targets. It's insane.
Yeah,
I mean, just how many receiving numbers he has.
and I've spent honestly, I have spent a lot of time really kind of analyzing the the schedule and these the NFL matchups kind of the next 5 weeks and into the playoff weeks. And I can tell you right now, the Saints, they're going to be putting up some points. They have some nice juicy fantasy matchups. So again, if you have Kamara, I am super jelly like right now because he is I think he's going to have a great second half, as well as to add to the first half.
Yeah. Now my team on the decline, who is on, we'll call it the path to the plate frame. And it's going to be someone that lost the previous week, and maybe they have a few injuries as well that happened, and that's going to be Danny. I think Danny's team is in trouble here. He lost George Kittle, which is a huge loss for his team. As of right now, he has not even gone out and picked up a new tight end. I know he just had a newborn, so
No
maybe
excuse.
he's too busy. I guess. No time to go get somebody, but and Jonathan Taylor, it sounds like he's going to be banged up too. So I don't know. I think Danny might be in trouble here. He's also projected as of right now to get crushed by Cisco, who is getting Michael Thomas back, I think. So if he takes a loss here to Cisco, our 12th place team, he could be in some serious trouble here. So just based on that loss he took this week and those injuries, I think he is my team on the decline.
Yeah, Danny, in my opinion, Danny, you should have made a move and try to dealt Kittle, man. And I guess Justin, I was talking to you before we kind of went live here, but in hindsight, it's hard to see, Kittle, he's hurt and he kind of comes back. There's a question mark. Is he going to be the Kittle just first game back, not even 100%? And he goes ape shit. He literally goes ape shit. And you're like, oh my gosh, Kittle, he is just going to be the tight end to own. At that point, can you honestly deal Kittle and try to get value for him? In hindsight, now you can say, yeah, you should have done it. It's different back then, but I don't know, man. Like Kittle, at that point too, I mean, San Francisco, man, you tell me. It's been like a lost season for the 49ers. Everything goes wrong. Everything has gone wrong. And I mean, Kittle is their go-to guy. So I really feel like Danny should have tried to make a move on Kittle. In hindsight, it's tough to like do, to actually do it. But I don't know, man. He is definitely on the decline. Danny is, I mean, he's a juggernaut. He's been a juggernaut in this league the last two years. He wasn't even keeping, this was the last year he had Kittle. He's gotten a ton of value for him over the years. He should have done a deal. I would have probably taken Kittle.
Sure. I mean, yeah, he could have gave him to me for my whole team. I mean, that's my boy. You gotta know who people are in the league.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I went ahead and grabbed the other two tight ends, Jordan Reed and Dwelly, after that, because we have no one to throw the ball to anymore. So I'm actually planning on playing Dwelly tonight against you instead of Jared Cook. We'll see how that goes. I'm kind of rolling the dice on that, but yeah, I grabbed those two tight ends when he went down. So I'm surprised no one else did, but hey,
that's actually,
we'll see if it works out.
Sleeper. That could be a sleeper move, man.
Yeah, we have no receivers and there's no one there. So I mean, Mullins has to throw to somebody. I don't know. So we'll see if it works out. Roll the dice with my own boys. Okay, so looking forward to week 9. A lot of good matchups here. I mean, my matchup of the week is going to be Mason versus JP. Both of these guys are 4-4. It's been a roller coaster season for them. Mason sits at the 5 seed, JP's at the 6 seed. So this is a big game, to have a winning record or a losing record, and they're right on the cusp of the playoff spot here. So I'm going to go with that as my matchup of the week.
I agree. I don't have a matchup of the week, so I think that's a solid pick.
Yeah, just based on where they are in the standings and the importance of this game. Now, of course, we have to talk about our matchup,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, the Justin versus Justin podcast and
Yep. LJ
matchup,
versus RJ.
LJ versus RJ. Um, yeah, so obviously haven't played each other this season yet. You've been rolling through everybody so far, undefeated. I gotta
Watch
say,
you watch you take me down, sir. Watch you
I
take me
gotta
down.
say, I like my chances. It's gonna come down to, I think, tonight's game. I've got Jet McKinnon playing and Dwelly, so those guys should both be catching some passes. Hopefully,
Yeah.
um, I played two guys last Thursday and it blew up. It was terrible. So maybe this week I can get off to a better start. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, Mike Davis, he might not play. Aaron Jones sounds questionable. So I think I've got a shot here to take you down, man, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, you are set up well. I feel like you are set up well against my team this week. I mean, the two San Fran guys. I mean, those two guys are playing. I feel like every other offensive player for San Francisco is out. So, I mean, they gotta feed somebody, and that concerns me. That concerns me. I mean, at San Francisco at home, you guys there is just some weird uh, spell that happens where whenever you guys play on prime time, you guys just say it. And I just,
Yeah.
so we'll see with that. But just even on my team, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't control your team, your lineup. But I think Ridley is going to be. I mean, there's no way Ridley is going to play, in my opinion. I think that kind of makes Jones, Julio a little bit more high value. But then I look at your squad, and you're playing Ryan, so a large portion of Julio's points are going to be canceled out there, which sucks. But I mean, that's kind of like a bummer for me in my mind about tonight. And then, I mean, this is honestly the week where my running back situation is just, I mean, this honestly may not even be the lineup I go with. But my running back situation, I mean, you look at Ronald Jones, it's a committee. Fournette's been kind of like the featured guy. Singletary, I think I'm going to leave Singletary in because I don't, even if Jones is a game time decision and he is probable, honestly, I'm probably not going to play him. And I know that's crazy, but I probably am I've already decided and accepted the fact that I'm going to just not go with Jones at all tonight. So yeah, man, I mean, Jones and Ridley, you're facing me without those two guys. I mean,
Yeah, you're big keepers. Your
so
guys
we'll
have been in your
see.
team for 20 years.
Seriously.
So tired of it.
Seriously. No, man, but we'll see what happens. I've been, Pittsburgh's defense, they're going, in Dallas. I feel like Dallas has just given up. Pittsburgh's D has been kind of like a secret weapon for me this year. They have I mean, whenever you can get 15 points, 10, 15, 20 points from a defense, like consistently, I mean, that's such an advantage. That is
Yeah,
such an advantage.
I gotta say that looking at your team, the Pittsburgh defense probably scares me more than anything because I this year I have gotten crushed by people's defenses. I think there were back-to-back weeks that people put up 20 plus points on me and I lost both of those.
Oh,
And it was like 49 combined points of defense against me. So yeah, you've got Steelers D and I have Zeke. So,
yeah,
it could really kill if Zeke has a dud and Dallas can't do anything. That's going to be a huge swing in your
yeah,
favor. I mean, if Zeke can somehow score one or two touchdowns, that would be a huge boost here.
yeah.
That's one thing to look for, is Dallas's offense in general, and especially Zeke.
And the
So
other kind of like I feel like storyline about our matchup, man, is dude, I have Deshaun Watson and you have the running back. So I mean, how that game goes, like what if the Houston touchdowns in that game are rushing touchdowns, versus throwing touchdowns? I mean, that's another storyline too. Yeah, there's a lot of, our matchup is honestly, I think, a little bit more. It's going to come down to 2 or 3 kind of storylines here. It's a shame the game isn't tonight. I could actually hang out. We could watch it together. But yeah, man. Good luck. Who knows what's going to happen? I'll say, and maybe we'll leave it here. I can't remember the last time I played you. Was it 2 years ago? We were in Vegas, and literally the only out I had to win. You had such a commanding lead. I don't know what the Yahoo the winning percentage was, but I had Hogan for the Patriots. You had I can't remember what it was, but the only way I could have won was Hogan had to score every single touchdown the second half, and he did. He scored 2, and I won. I beat you. So that probably was one of my favorite fantasy wins of all time.
I'm glad.
So, dude,
glad that worked out for you.
Yeah. But yeah, man, good luck. Good luck, sir.
Thank you. I could use an upset win here. It's been a rough season. This could turn around my season if I can knock you off.
Knock off the top dog, undefeated.
Show everybody that it's possible.
Has anybody ever gone undefeated in fantasy? 12-team league?
I mean, this is the only one I've been in for it's the 3rd year, and it's definitely never happened.
So I don't think it's happened for me either. But
it's hard to do.
It is.
It's really hard to do. I mean, but yeah, we'll see though, man. I mean, we'll see how you do. Now, I guess the last thing here is magic numbers. So, people making the playoffs or getting the plate frame. As of right now, everybody is still able to get to the playoffs. So I don't really have any hard numbers yet, but we want to kind of use the end of this to kind of talk about, how close people are either to the glory or the pain. But it's still a close fight. I think after this week, things will be a little bit clearer, but still it's gonna come down to the bitter end most likely.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's five games. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's 5 games, 5 matchups left. Everybody has 5 more matchups. So
5 more games. So
So I'm looking at the 2 and 6 guys. I mean, it's going to be hard for them. I mean, they almost have to win out. I would say either win out or go 4-1 and probably still get some help in order to squeeze in. But nobody is mathematically out of it. I mean, I could literally lose out and miss the playoffs. So,
right.
It's, this will be an interesting week. Trust me, this will be an interesting week.
All right. Well, that concludes the inaugural Cloud Heyne podcast. This one was probably longer than it typically will be just because it was the first one and we're kind of recapping the season. But RJ and I plan on doing this weekly for the rest of the year. If you guys want to be a guest on the show, let us know. But yeah, thanks everybody. RJ, any closing comments?
Nope. Good luck tonight, sir. And I'll see you. We'll see you next week when I'm not 0.
We'll see about that.
I'll see you.
All right. Thanks.